I'm Beth McGee, Senior Scientist with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. Each year, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation issues a report where we score the health of the bay on a score from 0 to 100. This year, the health of the bay scored a 28, which reflects a drop in the score relative to last year. One of the reasons why the score dropped is because the score for phosphorus dropped this year substantially. That reflects an increase in pollution loads, phosphorus pollution loads into the Chesapeake Bay. Some may be surprised by this because we actually had a drought this summer, and typically during droughts we have lower pollution loads going into the bay because a lot of our pollution is coming in from runoff associated with rain events. But people might forget that actually this spring was relatively average in terms of the amount of rainfall that we got, and hence in terms of the amount of pollution that came in with that rainfall. In particular, we saw increases of phosphorus pollution loads from the James and the Potomac River. Now, phosphorus in and of itself isn't a problem. Like nitrogen, is a nutrient. We add it to our lawns to make them green. But it's when phosphorus and nitrogen get into the water that they can create changes that do create a problem. In particular, phosphorus and nitrogen will stimulate the single-celled plants in the bay to bloom, the algae in the bay. This can be a problem. We had actually this summer quite a few harmful algae blooms, which in some cases killed fish, and that's one reason why our water clarity index also dropped a point this year. But more importantly is when the algae die and sink to the bottom, during the decomposition process, oxygen in the water is actually used up. Oxygen is needed for the animals that live in the bay, like oysters and crabs and rockfish. So what happens each summer, because of this relationship between nitrogen and phosphorus pollution, algae blooms, and dissolved oxygen, is that we have huge areas of the bay that are basically off limits for the animals that live in the bay.